A police officer answers thousands of calls over a career. And even the most dangerous ones, they usually make sense. There's a certain logic to them. But every once in a while, a call comes in that's different. Not because it's more dangerous, but because there is absolutely no explanation for it. Today, we're opening that exact case file. And that quote right there from a veteran officer, it just hits the nail on the head. We're diving into true accounts from officers about the calls that didn't just end when they cleared the scene. Nope, these are the ones that stuck with them, leaving them with way more questions than answers. So, we're going to walk through 3 of these absolutely unique case files. And in each one, you're going to see how standard, by-the-book police procedure slams right into something totally inexplicable. And it leaves a pretty haunting impression on everyone involved. All right, so our first case. This one involves a seasoned canine handler and his partner, a German shepherd named Rex. They're on their way to what should be a completely routine house search. But what Rex finds inside that home? It's anything but ordinary. Look, the most important witness here isn't even human. It's Rex. And you have to understand, this is not your average dog. This is a highly trained police canine with 9 years on the job. He's tracked armed guys through pitch-black warehouses without even flinching. His handler will tell you flat out, Rex is solid as a rock. He just doesn't spook. You gotta remember that. So here's the setup. Pretty standard stuff. Cops are chasing a suspect on foot. They lose him near this 2-story house. They find a gate open, back door's unlocked. A quick check shows the homeowners are out of town. So the thinking is, our guy is probably hiding inside. They call for the K9 unit to come and clear the house safely. It's textbook. The handler and Rex, they sweep the first floor. All clear. They head upstairs. Rex clears the first bedroom, then the second, then the bathroom. No problem. And that's when it all goes sideways. As they step back into the hall, Rex, the dog that doesn't spook, he just freezes, stares down the hallway, and he lets out this low, guttural growl that turns into this aggressive barking at absolutely nothing. So you've got to put yourself in the handler's shoes. This is the exact question blasting through his mind. His partner, the dog he trusts with his life, is freaking out over a threat he can't even see. So he follows Rex's gaze down that dark, narrow hallway toward the very last bedroom. And that's when he sees it, just standing there at the end of the hall. It's a tall, dark figure, and it is perfectly still. The handler does his thing, shouts police, canine, but gets nothing back. The figure just stands there. The figure then slowly turns and walks into that last bedroom. And now, the officer has this massive dilemma. His training, his duty, everything is screaming at him to move forward to go get the suspect. But Rex is doing something he has never seen before. The dog is physically pulling him backward, trying to get away. Every instinct Rex has is screaming, danger, do not go in there. And this is where it just gets impossible. The handler calls for backup, basically drags a resisting Rex down the hall, and they breach the room. What's inside? Nothing. The room is completely empty. The window is locked. From the inside, they search every single inch. No trapdoors, no hidden panels, nothing. And Rex? He won't even cross the threshold. He just stands in the hallway, staring into that empty room. Whatever it was, it vanished from a sealed space. Okay, our next case, this one kicks off with maybe one of these strangest 911 calls you could possibly imagine. And to make it even more tense, it's all happening during this massive thunderstorm. Power's out everywhere, so the whole neighborhood is pitch black before the officers even get there. The 911 call comes in, and immediately, red flags are flying. The caller is a man, says he's been kidnapped, but the dispatcher, a veteran named Claire, tells the responding officers that something is seriously wrong with his voice. She says it sounds digitally altered, or like he's trying to sound like a little kid, specifically a young girl. So the officers pull up to this house, and it looks like it's been abandoned for years. A guy in his 30s answers the door and immediately starts denying everything. Nope, no one else is here. Must have been a pocket dial. But he's super nervous, and he refuses to let them in. Thing is, in a situation like this, exigent circumstances mean you can get a warrant fast. 5 minutes later, a judge is on the phone, the warrant is approved, and they are going in. And what they find inside is just wrong. The place is a complete hoarder's nightmare. It's filthy, cockroaches skittering everywhere, But mixed in with all that squalor are these things that make zero sense. A bright pink Barbie doll playhouse, neat little piles of women's lingerie, all sorted by color. And in one room, a life-size doll dressed in women's clothes, just sitting in a rocking chair. It's all just off. As the officer gets to the back of the house, the homeowner is getting more and more agitated, just insisting there's nothing back there. The officer gets to this closed door at the end of a hall, and that's when he hears it. A clear rattling sound from the other side. Someone is down there. The homeowner's been lying the whole time. The officer heads down the stairs into the dark basement. He follows the rattling to another closed door. He swings it open, and what he finds is just, it's beyond belief. There's a man in there. A man who had been reported missing 2 full years ago. His own family had presumed he was dead, and he was being held captive in that room. And suddenly, the mystery of that bizarre 911 call is solved. The victim had somehow gotten the homeowner's phone and called for help. But why did his voice sound like a little girl? The officer's conclusion is just haunting. The victim was subjected to such intense psychological trauma, forced to speak in that high-pitched voice for so long, it eventually became the only way he could speak. All right, our last story. This one starts out as a simple 911 hang-up. A single officer gets sent to a quiet suburban street on a rainy night. A neighbor called, said she heard a woman screaming next door. And what starts as a quiet search, well, it quickly spirals into a violent crime scene with a victim who has simply vanished. The tension here just builds and builds. At 2:45 a.m., the officer gets there and the house is silent, but the front door is cracked open. That's always a bad sign. He clears the house, finds a little bit of blood upstairs. Then he hears it. A floorboard creaks below him. He realizes there's a basement door he missed. As he goes to check the basement, a figure just bolts from a dark corner, smashes through a small window, and disappears into the night, right as backup is pulling up. So the suspect's gone. Now they have to piece together what was left behind. And it is grim. In the basement, there's a metal chair. On the armrests are cut zip ties, and on the floor beneath it, a large pool of blood. The blood belongs to the homeowner, a man who lived there by himself. His wallet and phone are still in the house, but the man himself was never seen again. And this brings us to the final, completely unexplainable piece of this puzzle. The 911 call that started this whole thing was from a neighbor who swore on her life she heard a woman screaming for help. But every single piece of physical evidence, the blood, the wallet, the empty house, it all points to one victim, the male homeowner. No woman was ever connected to that address. So who was screaming? So you look back at these 3 cases and you realize the one thing they all have in common isn't the violence or even the fear, it's the total lack of answers. It's the loose ends that can never ever be tied up. What could possibly make a fearless police dog turn and run? What kind of unimaginable trauma literally rewires the way a person's voice works? And in a house where a man disappeared, who was the woman that was heard screaming for her life? These are the questions that just hang there, with no logical answers in sight. And really, that's the thought I want to leave you with. For most of us, we need a story to have an ending, a resolution. But for these officers, the story never really ends. When your training and the evidence and just plain logic all fail to explain what happened, the only thing that's left behind is the memory of the questions themselves.